Discover 7 bone-chilling secrets in chaos, the eerie horror movie that will haunt you forever. In the quiet town of Maple Grove, where golden apple orchards stood still in time, the Johnson family believed they had finally found their piece of the American dream. But little did they know, their charming new home held secrets darker than the shadows creeping along the attic walls. It all began as Sam Johnson, a determined 36-year-old high school teacher, tapped into his past for a brighter future for his wife, Emily, and their 2 kids. Unpacking boxes, he envisioned laughter spilling from the kitchen and sunlight streaming through the open windows. However, an unseen weight bore down on him, whispering of hardship that clung to their dream like fog. Up in the dusty attic, Sam's fingers brushed against a leather-bound diary, its spine creaky with age. He cracked it open and gasped. Clara Hastings. The name scrawled with shaky ink leaped into the air, sending chills down his spine. Each entry twisted reality with tales of phantom whispers and shadowy figures lurking behind the friendly neighborhood smiles. Clara wrote of piercing screams piercing the silence, of neighbors disappearing into the night, one by one, swept away by a storm that had nothing to do with clouds. It was eerie, yet he felt compelled to read on an invisible force locking him in place. Every evening since settling in, odd occurrences multiplied. Chairs shifted a tad too far from the table, flickering lights danced like spirits, and a voice muttered his name from shadowy corners. On the outside, Emily tried to paint on her bravest smile, crafting bright memories for their children while Sam plunged deeper into mounting pressures from school. Weariness sank into their bones like cold water. The once vibrant air of hope turned stale and heavily charged with tension. Whispers snaked around their family, creeping closer with each tick of the clock. One evening, right before dinner, Sam found the diary clutched tight in his trembling hands. This time, he became aware of how the neighborhood seemed to recoil, as if recognizing the veil of darkness growing thicker around their lives. Were the neighbors closing ranks, whispering about the ghostly history of this house? Fear gripped him. As if answering his eagerness to confront the bizarre turns of fate looming over them, an unexpected ally emerged. Frank, a retired cop with a stoic demeanor, knocked on their door with news that chilled Sam to the bone. Clara Hastings was tied to a crime that had left an ugly scar on Maple Grove, and it connected to the restless shadows creeping their home. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Gathering a community of fearful neighbors under Frank's watchful eye, they confronted the darkness burdening their town. Yet, with every moment of resolve sprung bitter and worn anguish, memories of fear clawed from the past haunted their hardened hearts. Shadows gathered relentlessly, and a shared dread spread among them, reaching a zenith. Should they fight together, risking it all, or simply turn their backs to save themselves? As Sam grappled with Clara's diary and the connections left hidden, all he could see was the darkness echoing with voices demanding justice. Desperation filled the air. What had they awakened in Maple Grove? With tensions spiraling and whispers escalating into chaotic cries, Sam stood on the precipice of a reality he might not be able to escape. Dark clouds loomed above, waiting to shatter their newfound hope, and the night promised more than just answers. Would the Johnsons inherit an unimaginable legacy or succumb to the shadows forever? The following day, the sun rose weakly over Maple Grove, its pallid rays struggling to break through the heavy clouds that loomed ominously. Sam sat at the breakfast table, silence enveloping the room like a thick fog. Emily poured cereal for the kids, her hands trembling slightly as she caught Sam's furrowed brow. "We need to talk about Frank's visit," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Sam dragged his eyes from the window where shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. "You felt it too, didn't you?" "There's something wrong, Emily." The way he looked at me, it's as if he expected me to know something. Before she could respond, the front door slammed open with a gust of wind that swept through their kitchen like a dark omen. The children giggled, oblivious to the tension that had suffocated their parents. Sam's heart raced. Was it just the wind, or was something more sinister lurking just out of sight? As the day went on, Sam paced through their house, grappling with the threat that seemed to circle closer. The diary felt like a lead weight in his pocket, daring him to delve deeper. The pages still crackled with Clara's fraught ink, begging to be read. He needed answers, but he feared what he might find. After a tense dinner, with Emily throwing nervous glances toward the windows, Sam decided to confront the lurking unknown. He would visit Frank, but not just for answers. He needed to uncover Clara Hastings's past and what horrors tied her spirit to their home. That evening, the sky darkened further as though it was swallowing the last remnants of light. Each footstep towards Frank's house felt like a weight pressing down on his chest. The houses, once quaint and friendly, now loomed like sentinels filled with unfathomable secrets. He could feel eyes watching him from behind curtains, whispers trailing behind him like ghosts. Frank welcomed him with a knowing gaze, his expression unreadable and heavy. "I was hoping you'd come. There's more to Clara than just her diary. The town knows, but they won't speak. Fear has a tight grip on this place." "What happened to her?" Sam asked, urgency spilling from his lips. Frank motioned for Sam to sit. "It was a fire. A bad one. Clara was blamed, but she claimed she saw something. A figure in the flames. The night was full of screams, and everything changed. People vanished right after she was taken away." "Vanished?" The word hung in the air, thick and foreboding. "Yes. One by one, as if swallowed by something dark. We thought it was just a story, part of the town's folklore. But after you moved and more chaos seemed to ripple through the neighborhood." A chill crawled up Sam's spine. "You think they're connected?" "I fear that house calls to them the darkness inside it. It's not revenge that Clara seeks, it's the truth. But be warned, Sam, the truth is often more terrifying than the lies." Sam's heart pounded. He could feel the walls of Maple Grove closing in on him, shadows darting in peripheral vision, ever watchful. He needed to know if Clara's spirit still lingered, her cries for justice tugging at the fabric of reality around him. As he stood to leave, an ear-piercing scream echoed through the night, piercing the stillness like a knife. Sam's breath hitched, dread pooling in his stomach. Was it just a trick of the wind or the desperate call of another lost soul? "You need to go back to that house," Frank said, urgency laced in his voice. "You'll find the answers, but be careful. You're playing with forces you don't understand." Sam stared into Frank's eyes, the weight of truth crashing down upon him. There was no turning back now. He wasn't just fighting for his family. The shadows of Maple Grove would come for them all if they remained silent, and as he stepped back into the night, the scream echoed again, this time coming from his own heart. What awaited him in the dark corners of his home? Would he uncover the legacy of terror hidden beneath the surface, or would it consume him whole? The town seemed to breathe around him, waiting with bated breath. What secret lurked behind those walls? Ready to snatch him into its grasp? The chill in the air intensified as Sam approached his house, each step feeling heavy with dread. The porch creaked underfoot, echoing like a warning bell. He hesitated, letting the silence of the night settle around him. Was Clara's spirit truly restless? What truth lay buried within those walls? With his heart racing, he pushed the door open. The familiar sense of wood and dust enveloped him, but there was something different tonight, a sharp, sulfuric smell that made his stomach churn. Something was wrong. He could almost sense a presence lurking behind the furniture, like a predator waiting for its moment. "Emily? Kids?" He called out, his voice threading through the darkness. Silence answered him. Panic clawed at his chest. Had they gone upstairs? He set his jaw and ventured deeper into the house, the eerie shadows stretching like fingers toward him. Each creaking floorboard was a reminder of the haunting nature of his surroundings. The air felt thick, almost suffocating. In the living room, he saw the diary lying open on the coffee table, its pages fluttering as if stirred by an unseen breeze. Kneeling down, he ran his fingers over the rough surface, steadying his breathing. What had Clara seen in those flames? And why had the town chosen to forget her? He skimmed the pages, his pulse quickening at the frantic scribbles, the desperate pleas for help. I saw him. I know what he did. They won't believe me, the words blared like a siren in his mind. Who was he? A noise from upstairs jolted him from his thoughts, heavy footsteps, slow and deliberate. His stomach dropped. Emily? He whispered, dread curling in his gut. No response. Only the creeping sound of footsteps continued, echoing like an ominous drumbeat. Sam's blood ran cold. He grabbed the poker from the fireplace, its weight both reassuring and terrifying. Taking a deep breath, he started toward the staircase, determination mingling with paralyzing fear. As he climbed the stairs, he felt the temperature drop sharply. Each step was agonizingly slow. The air grew denser, almost alive, pushing against him as if it yearned to keep him at bay. Shadows danced along the walls, twisting into grotesque shapes that flickered out of the corner of his eye. Reaching the landing, he paused outside the children's bedroom, the door slightly ajar. A sliver of light spilled out, pulsating like a beacon, inviting yet perilous. He could hear soft murmurs, like whispered secrets shared in the dark. Steeling his nerves, he pushed the door open, bracing for what lay beyond. But then a wave of panic washed over him. The room was empty. The beds were perfectly made, untouched, but the air felt charged with a tension that made his skin crawl. Where were they? Suddenly, a polished wooden doll, one of Julia's favorites, tipped over, as if nudged by an unseen hand. The porcelain face cracked, a grotesque smile forming across its features. Sam's breath hitched, and then he saw it, a dark figure standing in the corner of the room, void of light and substance, pulsating ominously. Get out, it whispered, the voice a chilling echo of Clara's past. Fear surged through Sam like ice water, freezing him in place. What do you want? He managed to choke out. Find the truth. And then, a crash erupted from downstairs, a cacophony that shattered the eerie facade. The figure dissipated into the shadows, leaving Sam gasping in the sudden stillness. With dread pooling in his stomach, he raced towards the stairs. Heart pounding, he descended into chaos. What had just happened? And more importantly, what danger had caught up with his family? The house groaned, and he could almost hear its mournful wailing beneath the surface. What awaited him next? The truth, or something far more sinister? As he reached the bottom step, the lights flickered and went out, plunging him into complete darkness. Desperation struck as he called out for his family again. What hidden horrors now haunted his home? The echoes of the past threatened to drown him. Or was it something worse, the chilling laughter of the darkness, inviting him deeper into its embrace? The sudden darkness seemed alive, an oppressive force wrapping around Sam like a wet blanket. He strained his eyes, but the room remained a void, the familiar contours of his home reduced to mere ghosts. Adrenaline surged through his veins as he pushed his palms against the walls, feeling his way back to the staircase. Emily. Julia. Max. His voice broke, echoing in the cold air. Each call felt weaker than the last, swallowed by an oppressive silence. He took a step forward, only to feel something cold and slick brush against his ankle. Instantly, he recoiled, heart racing in panic. Sam, the voice was barely a whisper, faint yet clearly familiar. It drifted from somewhere deeper within the house, an ethereal sound that tugged at his heart. Emily? He barely recognized his own voice, each syllable laced with desperation. The darkness shifted. A low thrum resonated through the walls, almost like a heartbeat, echoing his growing fear. It pulsed around him, a sinister rhythm that quickened with every step he took. He knew he had to reach the source of that whisper. With trembling hands, he fumbled for his phone, praying the battery hadn't died. The screen lit up, casting a fragile glow that fought against the engulfing dark. Shadows danced, playing tricks on his mind as he pushed further into the house, the light revealing nothing but eerie stillness. Then, he heard it again, the soft voice. This time, it was clearer. Help us, where are you? Sam shouted, urgency fueling his every word. Every both thrilling and terrifying. The living room loomed ahead, and memories of laughter and warmth flooded his mind. This was supposed to be their safe haven. He stepped inside, and the light from his phone cut through the darkness. The furniture loomed like silent sentinels, their stillness disconcerting. In the far corner, the diary still lay open on the coffee table, pages fluttering as if in a breeze, revealing desperate cries recorded in frenzied ink. "Find the truth," the voice echoed in his mind. With panic clawing at his throat, he raced toward it, flipping the pages wildly, searching for anything that could shed light on who had hurt Clara. A photo slipped from the book, fluttering to the floor. He bent down to pick it up, heart pounding in rhythm with the thrum of the house. It depicted a gathering, a faded snapshot of a family looking out in vibrant joy. Only, as he inspected it closer, he felt a chill. Clara stood with an arm around a man, his smile wide yet chilling. The man's eyes seemed to bore into Sam's soul, laughing at his fear. Suddenly, the floorboards creaked ominously behind him. He turned swiftly, the light beam from his phone shaking in his frantic grip, illuminating the glint of something dark, something moving. From the depths of shadow, emerged a form. It flickered like candlelight in the wind, shifting and twisting. A figure cloaked in darkness, its features obscured, but the laughter echoed again, sharp, piercing, mocking. Every ounce of fear coursed through Sam as he stepped back. "Let them go," he yelled, words laced with defiance. The figure tilted its head, laughter bubbling up from deep within. "Find the truth before it finds you." Just then, an ear-piercing shriek erupted from the far side of the house. It was a sound of pure agony, cutting through the air with the force of a storm. It felt real and visceral, sending tremors coursing through the walls and into Sam's very bones. Running toward the sound, he pushed through the haze of dread that gripped him. Whatever had been unleashed, it had bonded itself to his family, and in that moment, he felt every heartbeat for them. Was the truth enough to save them? The stairs loomed ahead, and as he rushed for them, the floor buckled beneath him, sending waves of terror crashing against his chest. He barely steadied himself before launching himself up, every instinct screaming at him to reach the source of that scream, but as he burst through the doorway, he froze. Emily, Max, and Julia stood frozen together, their eyes wide and terrified, staring into a corner of their chaotic home. From the shadows, the figure loomed larger, now impossibly close. Sam's stomach tightened as he took a single step forward. "What's wrong?" He trembled. As if sensing his arrival, the figure turned slowly. And just like that, their eyes met. "Join us," it hissed, the words hung in the air, heavy with an unbearable weight. With a feeling of raw dread tightening his chest, Sam realized that time was running out for them all. Would he find the truth, or would he too become a haunting echo in the dark? As the house shuddered, rattling beneath invisible forces, he knew one thing: the next moment would determine everything. "Stay back!" he shouted, not sure if he was speaking to the figure or to his own family. With all the forces maneuvering against him, he braced himself for what lay ahead. And as shadows began to twist and coil, leading toward yet another unknown, he fought back the fear growing within him, determined not to lose anyone else. What lay in that darkness? Who really had control of their fate? Sam's heart hammered in his chest, a wild drum echoing off the walls of the house now thick with dread. The figure seemed to absorb the light from his phone, growing darker and more malevolent with each passing second. He could see panic reflected in Emily, Max, and Julia's eyes, their breaths shallow and quivering. "Get back, all of you!" he shouted again, stepping forward, feeling the weight of fear at his back. He had never felt more powerless, more desperate to protect them, even as the figure loomed closer, the shadows clutching at it like restless hands, pulling it deeper into their world. Emily's voice trembled. "What is it? What do we do?" "I don't know. I don't know," he snapped, feeling the tendrils of desperation wrap around him like a noose. "We have to stay together." But as he reached for them, the figure suddenly lunged, a blur of darkness stretching toward them with unnatural speed. Sam's instincts kicked in. He threw his body between the figure and his family. He felt a cold chill wash over him as the shadows collided, and for a moment, he was engulfed in a feeling so overwhelming it threatened to pull him under. "Join us," the figure's voice crackled like static, twisting around the room, vibrating through Sam's bones. In that horrifying moment, images flooded Sam's mind, scenes from the diary, the voices of those lost, the laughter of memories now twisted into screams. Clara's face flickered before him, twisted in anguish. He couldn't let this happen to his family. He needed to fight back, summoning every ounce of courage. Sam yelled, "Stop! You don't control us." There was a moment of silence, thick enough to choke on, as if the house held its breath. The figure paused, its shadow seemingly wavering, as if caught off guard by his defiance. The children huddled closer, and Sam felt their warmth mixing with the cold dread of the figure. "Look for something, a way out, a way to fight this," he urged, his eyes darting around the room. Max stepped forward, his young voice shaky yet bold. "The diary. It said something about the truth, right? We have to figure out what it meant." "Yes. The truth," Julia echoed, her mind racing. "There has to be something in there that can stop it." With renewed determination, Sam turned back to the coffee table. He snatched the diary, flipping through the pages like his life depended on it, because it did. His fingers raced over ink smudged with urgency, until he stopped suddenly, as a passage jumped out at him. "In the darkest hour, the truth reveals itself, but only to the one who dares to see." A sound echoed from the corner, a low rumble that sounded like laughter but turned into an agonizing wail, just like what he had heard before. The figure surged forward again, and Sam knew they were running out of time. "Find it. Find the truth," he shouted as he frantically skimmed over the scattered pages, seeking the clarity amidst chaos. The very walls of the house began to shake, vibrating with the energy of whatever supernatural force governed this torment. Cracks splintered through the plaster, and the air thickened, alive with the whispers of lost souls. Suddenly, Emily gasped, pointing. "There. Right there." Sam looked up, where she indicated a small, barely noticeable etching in the wood of the coffee table. A strange symbol, familiar yet frightening, pulsed like a heartbeat. Beneath it, the light from his phone flickered oddly, illuminating words. "The past binds us as much as the truth frees us." "What does that mean?" Sam muttered, feeling the fear amplify around him. "I don't know, but it has to mean something," Emily cried, her voice cracking, echoing Sam's rising panic. "We need to do something now." Just then, the shadows thickened, swirling into a tornado of darkness, and the figure moved forward, its laughter mingling with the chaos around them. "Join us." As the children pressed against him, the air crackled with unseen power, and Sam understood, deep within his gut, that the truth was not just waiting to be uncovered, it was the very key to their freedom. The swirling dark closed in, and in that moment, with everything stacked against them, Sam made a decision. "We'll face it together." He took a breath, steeling himself for what he would have to do next. Just as he reached for the etching, the world around him began to blur, and he felt the shadows pulling at him with relentless force. What would he discover when he unlocked the truth? Would it bind them closer to the darkness or free them entirely? The answer loomed just beyond his grasp, waiting for his next move. The moment Sam touched the etching, a pulse shot through him, electrifying every nerve ending. It was as if the shadows behind him recognized the shift, recoiling momentarily, only to surge forward with renewed ferocity. "Sam!" Julia screamed, her fingers clutching at his shirt, drawing him back. Fear radiated from her wide eyes, darting around the room, searching for refuge. "Get away from it." "No!" he shouted over the roar of darkness. "This is it. We're supposed to uncover the truth." His voice felt like it was quaking, the weight of their situation pressing down hard. With a quivering resolve, he pressed his palm deeper into the etching, the strange symbol warm against his skin. The words from the diary flooded his mind again. "The past binds us as much as the truth frees us." What did they mean? What was bound within this house, within this moment? An icy wind howled through the room, knocking pictures off the walls. Max stumbled, falling to the floor, his face pale and bewildered. "Sam! It's coming!" Shadows curled and twisted like smoke, reaching out with jagged fingers that scraped against the walls, hungry for fear, intent on consuming. The chilling laughter echoed, filling every corner of the house with madness. "Max! Get up! Sam shouted, urgency gripping his heart as he wrestled with rising panic. He glanced down at his brother, whose small frame cowered beneath the relentless tide of darkness. We have to stay strong. As if his words triggered something in the shadows, they lunged again, this time sending a swirling vortex of cold air right at them. Sam braced himself, arms outstretched protectively. The air around them buzzed, and he could feel the children's breaths hitching in his ears, a haunting reminder of their fear. Focus. We have to work together. He called, desperately trying to connect with Emily and the others. What do we know? What do we need to do? Maybe it's about the past. Emily stammered, her eyes darting back to the diary in his hands. Is there something connected to the people who lived here before? The shadows seemed to twist in response, almost as if they were alive, listening. Sam dug deeper into the diary, pages rustling furiously in the wind. Half-formed memories began to surface in his mind, names, events, tragedies that could tie them to the darkness before them. Clara, he breathed, recalling the name of the woman who had been the last to live here. We need to find out what happened to her. Maybe that's what we have to confront. Suddenly, the walls resonated with a deep rumble as if answering his call, and in that same moment, the dark entity halted, waiting. Without thinking, Sam called out, Clara. If you're here, we want to help you. Silence fell, broken only by the rattling of the windows. The air shifted, and with a low crackling sound, a figure materialized from the shadows, ethereal and shimmering, a woman with hollow eyes and a face twisted in grief. It was Clara, but she was mournful, trapped in an unbearable sorrow. Help me, she whispered, her voice echoing, layered with the cries of lost souls. I cannot move on the truth. Sam's heart raced. He felt the answer teetering on the edge of discovery. What truth? Before she could respond, the figure lunged forward, horror etched across her face as the shadows writhed around her, pulling her apart. Sam stumbled back, instinctively reaching for Emily and Max, pulling them closer. Hold on. He shouted, scrambling to regain his footing. We can't let it take her too. But darkness enveloped Clara, dragging her into the void. The laughter swelled deafeningly, merging with anguished cries, drowning them in despair. Sam! Do something! Julia cried, tears streaming down her face as the pressure around them intensified. With every ounce of strength left within him, he shouted, we need to uncover the truth. We have to free her. As he clutched the diary tighter and the light flickered, illuminating the house one last time, Sam felt a force gathering, building deep inside him, ready to confront whatever nightmares were trying to consume them. Would they be able to unlock the secrets binding Clara? Or would the darkness snatch their very souls from them, forever lost in the shadows? The air crackled with energy, thick with desperation, as Sam held the diary like a shield, his mind racing. Clara was slipping away. He had to act fast, not just for her, but for Julia, for Max, for everyone trapped in this merciless cocoon of darkness. Tell us what we need. He yelled, voice hoarse, cutting through the chaos. The laughter amplified, a cacophony that gnawed at the edges of his sanity. Shadows lashed against the walls like angry serpents, and each pulse of fear sent a chill spiraling down his spine. Sam! Julia's bright eyes were wild with emotion. The diary. What if it has answers? His heart skipped a beat. Of course. Racing thoughts collided in his mind. He flipped through the pages frantically, clinging to hope. It has to have something about Clara, something about this curse. As he scanned, another wave of shadows surged forward, a lunging entity that twisted around the room, seeking to snuff out their remaining courage. The edges of Sam's vision blurred and darkened, yet the diary seemed to pulse under his fingertips, as if guiding him. He focused hard, skimming hastily through the scrawled notes, desperate for a glimmer of clarity. Here! Sam shouted, his finger jabbing a passage that glowed faintly in the dim light. It mentions a forbidden love. Clara was trying to escape something, maybe a betrayal? Betrayal, Emily echoed, her voice breaking through the haze. That's what binds souls. We need to find out who betrayed her. It's the key. Suddenly, Clara's wailing echoed louder, solidifying the urgency of their mission. You must know the truth, she pleaded, her figure flickering like a dying flame. Only then can I be free. A tremor ran through Sam as he felt the weight of her sorrow. What truth, Clara? Who did this to you? As if in response, shadows exploded around them, throwing Max and Emily aside. Sam staggered as he was struck by a cold wind, the darkness swirled, and faces distorted in its depths. He recognized what was happening. These were the tormented faces of Clara's past, all twisted with rage and sadness. Stop. Please. Sam raised the diary, trying to block the onslaught. The diary's pages started to turn on their own, revealing more of Clara's story. I'm trying to help you. Help us find your truth. The expression in Clara's hollow eyes shifted, as though hope emerged from despair. Trust the love that holds you, she gasped, her voice a whisper lost in the storm. Love? Sam repeated, his mind racing. A memory flickered, a fleeting mention in the diary about a forbidden romance, gone awry. Who was she in love with? Suddenly, the room took on a surreal quality. Images swirled before his eyes, a young Clara standing in a garden, laughing. Then, a figure emerged from the shadows, a man with fiery eyes and a grin that faded into anguish. Sam felt his heart race. This man, could he be the key? Was it Robert? Julia's voice cut through the haze. The diary mentioned someone named Robert. Yes. Sam felt invigorated, clarity cutting through the fog. Clara loved him deeply. But was their love the cause of her suffering? Before Clara could answer, the shadows convulsed, roaring in lament. Sam stood at the eye of the storm, adrenaline coursing through him. Clara! Show us! He yelled, desperation rippling in his voice. Show us the betrayal so we can set you free. The shadows hesitated, swirling like a tempest, and Clara's face twisted into a mask of anguish. You must unearth the truth, it hides beneath the lies. With a sudden burst, Clara's figure disappeared, leaving a chilling silence in her wake. The shadows seemed to recoil, awaiting Sam's next move. He took a deep breath, centering himself. This wasn't just about uncovering Clara's truth anymore. It was becoming personal. The darkness around him felt alive, mocking his every thought, and he knew he had to push against it, to battle through the chaos. As he glanced back at the diary, the pages began to illuminate again, revealing one last, cryptic line. They needed to confront the truth buried deep, and time was running out. Stay close. He commanded, rallying his friends. We can't let the darkness win. We've got to find her and the truth about Robert. Where do we even start? Max whimpered, tugging at his brother's sleeve, terror etched across his small features. The garden, Sam breathed, his heart racing again. That's where it all began. But as they moved forward, the shadows thickened, barring their path, sneering in defiance. What fresh horrors awaited them in the garden? And would they be able to unearth the truth before shadowy tendrils swallowed them whole? The heavy air pressed down on them, trapping their breaths like the shadows that encircled them. Sam took a step forward, every instinct screaming retreat, but he couldn't back down now. Clara's fate weighed heavily on his shoulders. The diary's pages flickered with a ghostly glow, illuminating fragments of a long-buried past that danced tantalizingly just out of reach. Stay alert, he whispered, his voice trembling as they approached the entryway. The garden loomed ahead, its once vibrant blooms now dulled, petals shriveled like the hope creeping into his heart. The shadows hissed and writhed, slipping through fingers of light, determined to keep them from where they needed to go. Do you feel that? Julia's face was tight, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. It's like something waiting for us. I can feel it too, Emily admitted, her voice barely above a whisper, eyes locked on the darkened garden. We have to be ready for anything. Once they stepped outside, the garden felt eerily alive. The cold wind rustled through the leaves, a sibilant whisper that sent shivers down Sam's spine. He glanced back at his friends. We find the truth together. We'll figure out what happened to Clara. As they advanced, the earth felt wrong beneath their feet, spongy and damp as if something had been buried deep within. Max trailed close to Sam, gripping his brother's hand tightly, seeking comfort against the unseen terror that stalked them. Over there, Sam pointed towards a large, twisted tree. Its gnarled roots coiled like serpents, and he could almost hear the sigh of the earth beneath it. Clara spent a lot of time there. It has to hold answers. Or maybe more danger, Julia warned, her voice threaded with worry. But Sam ignored her. He felt an uneasy pull, a thread of connection to Clara that urged him closer. As they approached the tree, a sudden gust of wind howled through the garden, causing the branches to sway violently. Leaves whirled like a small tempest, filling the air with a cacophony of rustling. Sam's heart raced. It was as if the garden itself were alive, mourning or warning. Look! Emily shouted, her finger trembling, pointing to the ground at the base of the tree. There were remnants of stone, a faded outline that hinted at an old, crumbling stone bench. That's where she used to sit with him, isn't it? The diary surged with life in Sam's hands, feeling hot, pulsing just like the memories that were clawing their way forward. He knelt beside the bench, brushing away the leaves and dirt, revealing worn engravings. Names. Sam's breath hitched. Clara and Robert. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, thick and suffocating, enveloping them. Laughter echoed through the darkness, mocking their trespass, a cruel reminder of the secrets that lingered here. The shadows churned and thickened, wrapping them in a disorienting spiral. Sam! Max cried, panic seeping into his voice. What do we do? Stand together. Hold the diary. Sam barked, feeling the strength of their unity in desperate times. He could almost taste Clara's desperation on the air, like static before a storm. They would fight, they had to. As he held the diary aloft, illuminated shapes began to twist into forms, a woman with gleaming eyes set against a backdrop of stark betrayal. You must understand. She cried, voice echoing through their minds, blending with Clara's own. The truth will destroy you if you're not ready to face it. What truth? Sam shouted, feeling the shadows pushing back against his resolve. With a defiant push, he shouted back, we're ready. Show us. In that moment, the shadows burst, spilling forth images of torn love, of agonizing choices, and Clara's face twisted in despair. They surged and swirled around them, and Sam felt the weight of history, of betrayal clinging to the air like smoke. Just then, the earth trembled beneath them, the bench cracking apart as if the very ground sought to swallow the secrets of the past whole. Run! Julia screamed, yanking Max to safety as the garden began to collapse around them, but Sam stood rooted to the spot. Determination surging, ready to confront whatever lurked in the shadows. They hadn't uncovered the truth yet, and Clara's fate hung in the balance. Wait! He called after his friends, his voice hoarse. We can't leave without knowing. The shadows twisted into violent shapes, preparing for an assault. Sam braced himself, ready for a confrontation, determined to break the grip of the dark that sought to drag them down. Would they uncover the truth that had already cost Clara her soul? Or would they fall prey to the same history that cursed her? As the walls of shadow closed in, Sam faced the darkness head-on. The next swing of fate was suspended in the silence before chaos erupted. Would the truth set them free or bind them forever? The world spun around Sam in a dizzying blur of shadow and noise, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum heralding impending doom. Just as the darkness reached out for him, the diary pulsed again, illuminating a circle of light that flickered defiantly against the encroaching blackness. Sam, come on. Julia's voice cut through the chaos, fear lacing her urgency. He could see her dragging Max towards the trellis that framed the garden's entrance, but the gravity of the moment held him captive. Clara's pleading face was etched into his mind, her subtle cries mingling with the haunting laughter that echoed between the trees. With resolve hardening inside him, Sam stepped deeper into the shadows. No. We can't run away. It's not over. He yelled, his voice breaking. The swirling darkness hesitated, as if taken aback by his defiance. "Don't be reckless," Emily shouted desperately, but Sam felt as if he were tethered to a magnetic pull, unwilling to break the bond that connected him to Clara. Then, the darkness began to unravel, and he found himself standing before a flickering apparition. The woman's intense amber eyes bore into him, and he could sense the layers of torment behind them. "You seek answers?" she whispered, her voice chillingly serene amid the chaos. "But every truth comes with a cost." "What did Clara uncover?" Sam demanded, his voice steady despite the tremors coursing through his body. "What happened to her?" The figure shifted, revealing a swirling image of the garden, lush and vibrant, but with a shadow creeping at its heart. "She discovered the plight of the ones who came before," the apparition said, the sorrow in her voice draping over him like a cloak. "It consumes all who dare to seek it." The earth quaked again, and Sam stumbled, grasping the diary as if it were an anchor. The shadows throbbed in response, growing denser, pulsing with anger. He felt a surge of panic rising in his chest. "You're lying!" he screamed, launching forward, desperate to break through to Clara's spirit. "Tell me the truth. You can't just hold her captive." "No one can escape the threads of fate," the woman replied, her voice echoing as though the shadows mourned her fate. Then she pointed beyond him, where a vibrant glow flickered erratically amidst the darkness. "But you may have a chance retrieve her name from the roots of this garden, and you may hold the key to save her." Before he could react, she dissipated, pulling apart like strands of smoke, leaving him in a whirlwind of shadow and confusion. The air suddenly grew heavier, and he felt the shadows shift, coiling around him like serpentine limbs. "Sam!" Julia's voice rang out again, frantic and desperate. "We can't hold them back for long." The shadows rolled and surged as if hungry for something darker, and Sam turned towards the twisted tree, its gnarled roots calling to him as though whispering secrets long hidden. He raced to the base, shoving aside dirt and overgrown vines, driven by adrenaline and Clara's ghostly presence. Would he find her name there? Would her spirit guide him through this labyrinth of despair? He dug feverishly, heart racing, hands trembling, unearthed pieces of long-forgotten wood and stone. Suddenly, with a deafening crack, a root snapped free, and the ground trembled violently. "Sam!" Max screamed, clutching his brother's leg, fear evident in his wide eyes. "What's happening?" "It's her." "I'm close." Sam gasped, focusing on the pulsating energy beneath the surface. The shadows snarled and hissed, tightening their grip. As his fingers brushed against something smooth, a surge of energy coursed through him. With a final heave, he pulled loose a small, engraved stone that shimmered with an ethereal light. The word "Clara" glinted under the pale moonlight, and the shadows recoiled, hissing like a wild animal cornered, thrashing and savage. "Now!" Sam roared, hoisting the stone high, illuminating the garden in a pure glow that breached the darkness. "Show us the truth." As he did, the laughter turned to screams, echoing frantically as the air thickened with reality unraveling. Everything around him fell silent. For the briefest moment, he felt the weight of Clara's presence warm, alive, hopeful before the ground beneath them shook with fury. Then, with a loud crack, the shadows withdrew, pulling away like a tide retreating, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. But a swirling mist remained, and Clara's figure began to solidify within it, pleading, desperate. "Sam, you have to find me. The truth binds us both." The connection was taut, a fraying line ready to snap. He took a step forward, heart pounding with urgency, ready to face the depths of terror that awaited him. "Clara!" he shouted, voice filled with determination. "I'm coming for you." The mist began to swirl faster, and a chilling wind swept through the garden, carrying with it a whisper of warning: "Be careful what you uncover. Some truth is better left buried." As the shadows began to rise again, Sam steeled himself, knowing that the next move would either seal Clara's fate or bring her back to the light that in that charged silence. The truth loomed ever closer, but the question remained: could he wield the power of the past to save her, or would it consume them all? The darkness pulsed, a menacing heartbeat that reverberated through Maple Grove as Sam thrust the engraved stone toward the swirling shadows. Clara, hold on. He yelled, the words strained, desperate. The shadows screeched, twisting like anguished souls caught in a tempest, drawing in close, hungry for fear. In that moment, the garden transformed, fading into a battleground between light and shadow. Then, Clara's form flickered again, more defined, yet tangled in despair. You must believe in our love, Sam. Her voice trembled, caught between hope and mourning. It was Robert. Betrayal led to the fire. Who betrayed you? Sam shouted, heart racing, pulse quickening with urgency. The world around him began to shatter, fragments of history and betrayal unfurling before him. As he pressed the stone into the soil, the roots erupted with energy, shooting forth, illuminating the air. Whispers echoed the tales of those who found solace beneath this very ground. Amidst the swirling chaos, Sam could feel Clara, could almost touch her spirit, her yearning blending with his resolve. What must I do? He begged. Unravel the truth, she urged, her spectral fingers reaching for him through the void. The truth binds the past, but love can set us free. With newfound urgency, Sam gritted his teeth, forcing himself to confront the entity draining the life around him. Shadows hissed like angry serpents around him, tightening their grip, clawing at his courage. I won't let you have them. He shouted, a surge of defiance rising within him. He recalled the love Clara felt for Robert, sweet and tangled with darkness. Love shouldn't be a curse. He roared against the encroaching dark. Stop hiding behind betrayal. As if stirred by his words, the shadows recoiled momentarily. You think love can save you? A deep, mocking voice slithered through the murk. Love is what kept her here, clinging to betrayal when there was nothing left of it. No. Sam cried, rage coursing through him. It should be a beacon, pulling us from darkness. That's power you can't control. The shadows screeched, a cacophony as they recoiled violently. Then face the truth of how she died. The garden exploded, unleashing visions of that fateful night, the fire, the terror, the screams of betrayal. Sam pushed through the collapse, determination burning through him. Clara. I'm fighting for you. You're here with me. The weight of Clara's despair pressed against him, urging him to remember. There it was, buried under ash and sorrow, the sound of Robert's laughter, twisted with anguish. I'll save you, Clara. He promised, the stone pulsating under his fingertips. That moment, both worlds collided, the swirling darkness and the memories of love and loss. You cannot unearth what you do not wish to see. The voice growled, the shadows thickening into an oppressive wave, but he had to. Show me the truth. Let her go. Sam yelled, eyes blazing with purpose. The world shook, shadows snapping back, shrieking in protest as Clara's anguish morphed into sheer strength. Suddenly, like a lighthouse piercing through fog, the stone erupted with light, illuminating the garden as visions of Clara's past swirled around him. He saw her laughing with Robert, and then, betrayal, a figure coaxing him into flames, desperate screams chasing after shadows. They made me look guilty. Clara's voice echoed, heavy with grief, echoing in nightmares long forgotten. It wasn't you. You were innocent. Sam shouted, the truth illuminating the darkness. The entity's grip weakened as the light surged higher. Look deeper. Clara's spirit cried, swirling in ribbons of light. The stone responded, vibrating with the collective weight of countless souls lost in Maple Grove, caught between love and betrayal. The shadows howled, lunging after him, but Sam held firm. You don't own her. She was never yours. With each word, he felt the chains loosening, the bonds of darkness unraveling as the truth surged forth, bending the shadows, giving Clara's spirit strength anew. Love is stronger than betrayal. He called out. The light intensified with every ounce of belief coursing through him, and then it happened. A surge of energy ripped through the garden, the truth unveiled, a tapestry through time. Clara's suffering and love unleashed in radiant brilliance, the shadows clashed violently, screeching as they fled from the light. Join me. Clara's voice rose above the chaos, her spectral figure formed fully, shining like a star through the darkness that had claimed her. With a final laboring breath, Sam raised the stone high. You will not consume us. The shadows receded, the environment distorting and flickering until the house felt alive, breathing in the truth. We win. We break free. Sam shouted, holding Clara's truth, her spirit, as the darkness shattered around them, releasing every lost soul trapped for years, and then silenced as the shadows vanished. Sunlight broke through, illuminating the garden in a golden glow. In an instant, the oppressive weight lifted from Sam's chest. The air felt light, like fresh beginnings. Clara. He scanned the garden, hope flooding through him. And then, a mist rose gently, revealing her smile, radiant and free, her essence glowing warmly. You set me free, she whispered, voice strong and serene. The truth, my love, it was the weight, but love is the liberator. Suddenly, the air felt alive, breathing bursting forth in laughter, sounds of hope filling the once stormy silence. I'll never forget you, Sam breathed, tears streaming down his face. The shadows lingered only as memories, never to haunt Maple Grove again. Emily, Max, and Julia appeared beside him, eyes wide, faces aglow with joy. They had witnessed the truth, the love that transcended darkness. Sam! Julia cried, and he bent low, enveloping them in a tight hug. With Clara's spirit now an eternal watch over their home, the family felt a fresh start pulse through Maple Grove, an entire community on the brink of healing, ready to embrace new beginnings. Let us build our dream here, Emily whispered, the promise of joy rekindling. Together. Sam held them close, the sunlight pouring in as the shadows faded. And as they embraced, laughter filled the air, the promise of love became a legacy, inviting them into the dawn of a new story. Subscribe now so you won't miss the next exclusive tales that will thrill you. Smash that like button right now to satisfy the notorious algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories on this ending. We can't wait to hear from you. And share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. Remember, true fans of the channel understand the importance of supporting what you love. Don't wait another second.